What if I told you one of the most productive tight ends in college football started his career as a high school quarterback? Terrance Carter Jr. may not look like the traditional inline tight end, but the ball keeps finding him, and in today's NFL, that kind of move piece, weapon, whatever you want to call him, has real value. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Draft Yoda, where we're data-driven and prospect-focused. As always, I am Draft Yoda himself, Bill Workman, your favorite draft nerd's favorite draft nerd. And today we're breaking down Texas Tech tight end Terrance Carter Jr., currently scored as a 9.02 out of 10, making him my tight end 3 and number 37 overall prospect in the upcoming NFL draft before the season. And this one was a fun evaluation because Carter is not your classic tight end. He's not the biggest tight end. He's not the most traditional inline blocker. He's not a guy you draft because you want him attached to the line of scrimmage, moving defensive ends off the ball for 60 snaps a game. It's not his game. He is a pass game weapon. He's a move tight end. He's a big slot. He is a yards after catch threat. You know, he's a former quarterback who understands space, timing, leverage, and how to make himself available to a passer. And when you look at him at Louisiana and then what he did transferring to Texas Tech, the production translated, and that matters. Because every year we talk about tight ends who dominate at smaller schools transferring up, and we ask the same question: does it still work against better athletes? And for Carter, he's already answered that question, and the answer is yes. You know, Carter took an unconventional path. He played for Harker Heights High School in Texas as a quarterback. And I always pay attention to, when I'm evaluating skill players, because former quarterbacks usually understand the game better, and they know what quarterbacks are looking for. They understand spacing, they understand timing, and they understand route concepts. They understand how they're supposed to work. They understand when or where there's a soft spot in coverage and how to sit in it and how to move themselves in space. You know, eventually Carter made the switch to tight end. As a senior, he earned, his 6A offensive MVP honors, had 23 catches, 330 yards, 6 touchdowns. Not massive national production. Wasn't, your perfect 5-star, but he was a modest 3-star that signed to Louisiana. Not national hype, not a lot of recruiting spotlight on him. He had to build. And Carter redshirted at Louisiana because he had to learn how to play tight end. He needed to develop. He was a player in a new position, learning how to play college football, learning how to use his body, learning how to win as a tight end after starting out as a quarterback. And, showed glimpses. In 2024, he had 48 catches for 689 yards and 4 touchdowns, earned all Sun Belt first team honors, and led all Sun Belt tight ends in receiving yards. And he was becoming more than just a nice college football player. He was becoming a real tight end prospect. And that's when he made the jump to Texas Tech in 2025. And that's where it gets interesting, because transferring up can expose players. It happens all the time. But it didn't happen to Terrance Carter Jr. He scaled up. When he joined the Texas Tech offense, and that Texas Tech offense went on a Big 12 title run, He played in the championship environment, and his volume didn't disappear. He had 55 catches, 624 receiving yards, and 5 touchdowns. He ranked among the top 5 in FBS tight ends in both receptions and receiving yards. I think that earned him Big 12 second team honors. I'll have to double check that. But that's a major statement, making that jump from Louisiana, because now your resume is not just Louisiana production. You have Power 4 production. You have championship offensive production. You have playoff stage production. If you're looking for a game to watch, the Oregon State game is one that's going to jump out at you, 102 yards and a touchdown. West Virginia had 10 catches for 98 yards. But the 9 pass catches against Oregon in the college football playoff game, I think, is the one that stands out the most. Because when the games got bigger, he didn't disappear. He was still involved. The ball still found him. The offense trusted him. And that's a theme with Carter, call him what you want, tight end, big slot, move piece, flex weapon. The ball keeps finding him, and that's not an accident. Now, first thing that jumps off the page for you is the receiving volume. 55 catches at tight end is real production. It's not a package player. He's not a decoy. It's not somebody who gets 2 manufactured touches a game. He's a real part of a passing offense. Second thing that jumps off the page is yards after catch. He had 370 yards after catch this past season. That is a headline trait. It means that he's not just a big body going downfield, posting up, and getting his yards that way. It's that combined with his former quarterback background and the move piece profile, it comes together and shows that he understands space, he understands how to settle, he understands how to present himself, and once the ball gets in his hands, he can turn a normal completion into a useful game. And that's super valuable in today's game because offenses want easy offense. They want players who can win underneath, catch the ball, and create. And Carter gives you that. He's part of the quick passing game. He knows how to work underneath zones. He can punish linebackers in space, and he can move chains. And that is an NFL role inside and out. The part of the evaluation that surprised me is Carter graded at his best deep. He graded as the best deep receiver in the tight end group, despite being labeled more of a move piece. And that's interesting because when people hear move tight end, they assume a short area target, screens, flat routes, stick routes, crosses, checkdowns, bubble routes. They assume he's not going deep. But Carter tape shows he's more than that. He can win vertically with leverage. He can track a ball. He can work down the field. And he can make plays that stress defenses beyond 5 yards. And that is an extremely important detail. I do not think winning vertically. I don't think he is winning vertically because he has an elite long speed. I don't think that's part of his profile. I think he's winning with leverage, ball skills, timing, and route feel. And that matters because not every vertical threat wins by just being the fastest guy on the field. Some players win because they understand how to position their bodies and how to attack blind spots and how to finish through contact. And Carter has some of that. He's shown it. There's been some flashes. Another thing that should not get lost, Carter did not allow a pressure all season across his pass protection snaps. I don't want to overstate that. He's not an elite inline blocker. He's not a dominant people mover. He's not a road grader. But his pass protection is different. And can be trusted he can be trusted to execute on assignment, shield and stay square and not get your quarterback hit. And that matters, especially from a move tight end, because when an NFL team thinks you're only a receiver, you become predictable. And Carter being able to stay in and block shows that he is smart, he's willing, and he understands positioning, and he can execute enough to survive, which raises his floor considerably, Nobody's perfect. I've said in every single one of these, nobody's perfect. Nobody will ever be perfect. No. The first concern I have with him is his frame. Carter has one of the shorter frames in the tight end group. And that's the big question. Is he a true tight end, or is he just a big slot wearing a tight end number? And that distinction is going to matter in the NFL, because if you can't survive in line, you limit the personnel groups and the offenses that you can be used in, which is valuable. It's not a deal breaker anymore with the modern NFL, but it does affect his projection just a little bit. Second concern is his long speed. His deep receiving grade is strong, but his time speed is more average. That means the vertical production is has to be understood correctly. He's not winning by running away from defenders. He's winning from leverage and timing. And that can translate, but it also means the NFL teams will want to know, how much of the vertical menu is truly available at the next level and how much of it was you're playing Big 12 teams. Can he threaten safeties consistently? Can he separate downfield? Those are questions that are going to be raised. Third concern is drops. He had 4 drops. It's not a disaster, but it does need to be cleaned up. When your NFL role is built around being a reliable pass game target, your hands have to be consistent, especially for Carter, because he's not a dominant blocker. He's not a elite top end speed. You have to be consistent. You have to be trusted to make the reception every single time. The fourth concern I have with him is contested work. His contested catch profile sits roughly about a coin flip, and that's not ideal, because if you want if you are a shorter tight end without elite separation speed, you need to be strong at the catch point. You have to win through contact, and you need to finish in traffic. And those areas can determine whether Carter becomes a solid passing down piece or something more. And then lastly, his run blocking. He's willing, he is smart, he understands how to shield, but he is less than powerful. He's more of a get in the way of to execute his assignment than he is a dominant run blocker. And that's going to limit his inline snaps at the NFL early on. Because they want somebody who can move a defensive end in a running game. And Carter has yet to show me that he can be that guy. He's not going to be an attack. He's not going to be your 6th offensive lineman. That's just not who he is. The reason he's tight end 3 is because Trey'Dez Green is a rare mismatch profile. Chris Corbo has the traditional size, the inline usage, and his blocking foundation is just simply outstanding. And that's what separates him at tight end 2 to tight end 3 is, his blocking. Carter is the cleanest passing game role production of the group. He can catch the ball. He creates after the catch. He's already shown that he scaled from Louisiana to Texas Tech. He's already produced on championship level offenses, but he is not a fit for every offense. In the right offense, he can help immediately, but that does limit your overall grade. And biggest thing for Carter moving forward is proving his role is not capped. We already know he can produce, he can scale up. We already know he can be a volume target. Question is, can he become more complete? Can he cut down on the drops? Can he win more contested catches? Can he become more of a positional blocker? And can he show enough vertical separation to keep defenses honest with him? Because the passing volume is clear, and now the every down value for him needs to catch up. That's why he's at a 9.02 out of 10. My tight end 3 and my number 37 overall prospect in the 2027 draft. He is a productive, quarterback-friendly, yards after the catch tight end who has already proven that he can transfer up and keep producing. He led the position in Big 12 title run offense. He produced in the playoffs. He creates after the catch. He protects quarterbacks when asked. The concerns are real. The frame is smaller. The long speed is average. The drops in contested work need cleaning up. But the passing game volume is obvious. And Terrance Carter Jr. is not a traditional tight end. He's a modern move weapon. And in the right offense, he can be extremely valuable in the NFL. But that's my board. What do you think about Terrance Carter Jr.? Is he one of the most underrated tight ends in college football? Do you think I have him overrated? Can a move tight end like Carter become a real NFL weapon? Where would you have him ranked in the 2027 draft class? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed these player evaluations, we build them around film and analytics. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, because we're going to keep putting in this work. We're going to have over 100 prospects ready for you by the start of college football. As always, I'm Draft Yoda, Bill Workman, your favorite draft nerd's favorite draft nerd. We'll see you guys in the next one.